Hello, welcome back to Build a Profitable Online Business. Have got another action-packed week starting today. And then in a couple of days' time, we're going to follow that up with a continuation really on the same theme. First of all, before we get started with the main material today, a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, if you're in the Facebook group, then you will have hopefully seen a little mobile phone update video that I did for you on Friday. And that was to just talk about the extra materials that we've now got for the course. So if we switch over to the web here, this is the resource page, which if you're on YouTube, you've got a link to that directly below the video in the description. It's all open access. You don't need to opt in or anything like that. And if you go down, obviously your main link's up here, but if you go down to the previous sessions, you will now see below each video is a download, and you can download a little zip file with the slide pack from the presentation, and also the transcription, which is being very kindly done by Karen Jackson, who's in the Facebook group as well. So thank you very much, Karen. It's terrific work that you're doing. I really appreciate that, and I know from the feedback we've seen as well, people are really overwhelmed by that. So that's terrific. So that's all there for you. Links in the description, and obviously as that builds up, then that will become a more important page to visit as well as we continue. Now, the other thing is that, especially in the Facebook group, there's lots and lots of people asking about, what about traffic? What about marketing? I've built my opt-in page. What do I do now? I'm thinking about a membership site. How would that work? And all sorts of other questions, which are all brilliant. That's terrific. So if you've got any questions like that, just post them in the Facebook group. If you're not in there already, just click the link in the description below. I'll let you in. And you get extra stuff in there, and I do the update videos and so on. So that really works well with this. But do ask any questions. But the way we're running the course, as we said from the beginning, is we're just doing little bite-sized updates twice a week. We're going to keep that up, and we're going to get to all the good stuff when we get to it. So I don't want to rush everything into one session or do things kind of out of order. There's pretty much a rough order to this, right? Rather than doing stuff backwards and so on. So some of it, ask whatever you like. Some of it will be covered, or most of it will be covered, but in the sessions in future. You know how time flies, so before we know it, we'll be building up a lot of content on that resource page anyway. So that's just a little note there based on the questions that have come in the Facebook group and on email as well. So with that said, let's go over and if we go back to the web here, and then we can go over to today's session. All right, and we're going to talk about free tools and sites for graphics, logos, and photos. Whatever kind of business you've got, this is really, really important and valuable. So first of all, here's a very simple opt-in page. This is a few years old, but I use it as an example because it's a really clear one. A lot of tests that you do are a little bit ambiguous, not less clear. They're not such a distinctive change, but this can show you just how powerful images can be. This is just a little opt-in for some coaching that I did a long time ago. A very simple opt-in page, and this converted at about 25%. So in other words, 1 in 4 people who visited this page signed up. What I also did is I did a 50-50 A/B split test. All right, so that's where you have 2 versions of the same web page that are slightly different to see which design works better. So all I did was change the background. So I just put a stock image, which we'll see where to get stock images today, put it in the background, and look what happened to the opt-in rate. Didn't quite double, but it's gone up massively. So that is just a simple example, all right, and there's many others I could show you, but that's just a simple one, just to say how important images are. And it is true that a picture paints 1,000 words. Images and graphics are incredibly powerful to use in your business.
So in today's session, we're going to be looking at some online resources and tools for images and graphics. And there's a myriad of different tools out there. If you've got any suggestions yourself, I'd love to hear about them. If you post them in the Facebook group, maybe we'll even include that in the resource document, which is now up online. Also on the resource page, there's a list of tools you can download, the PDF, and we'll be updating that as we go through the course as well. So perhaps if you've got ideas, other tools that you find really useful, we can include that for everyone in that document. But there are so many. I'm just going to show you, as I've always said from the beginning, just what I use, what I find the most helpful, and you can use the same as me if you want to, or you can make your own choice and use a different tool. It doesn't matter. And the links for all these tools I'll put in or you'll find them in the description on the YouTube video, but also in the resource document on the resource page. So that's today. Next time, just 2 days time, on Thursday, we're going to be reverse engineering a few images to see how you can create similar ones for your business. So what I'm talking about is things like Facebook ads or banners, banner ads, or designs, even the design for these sessions, right? There's a picture of me and then there's a course title. How was that created? All that sort of stuff. And I'll show you a few different images. I'm going to show you we'll break it down. We'll do a little session just to get you up to speed so you can start, if you want to, start creating these sort of similar images. Very, very powerful. So you've got two choices. You can outsource this, get someone else to do it, or you can do it yourself. And they're both great options. And I use a mixture of both. So for example, here on the left is a logo for one of my products, and this was outsourced. I got a designer to do that. On the right is also a logo for another one of my products, 1K plus, and that is something I created myself. So really, whatever you like to do, you can do it. I will say, if you get a good designer, it's always way better than I could do myself. I'm not a graphic designer. I don't do it day in, day out like these guys do. It's always going to be better if you outsource it. But sometimes all you need is a very simple logo or a piece of graphics or something to go on a web page, maybe your opt-in page. One of the examples we looked at so far was a book. Do you remember the hook book from previous sessions that I showed you? That's one of the things we'll look at on Thursday. Like, how did I actually do that? That was something I built myself. So I'll walk you through and reverse engineer that to show you how you can do those things easily. So by the end of the week, you'll be able to do a lot of great graphics for your business. Okay, but remember, if you want something stunning, absolutely amazing, you're really big on graphics, probably best to outsource it unless you're an expert yourself. But in reality, in my experience, as long as it's good, it's eye-catching, it conveys the right message, obeys a few simple rules, which we'll try and talk about as well this week, then that's pretty much fine, right? Like with anything in your business, perfection is not optimal, because it just drags you into endless work and wasting time. You want to get things to a really good standard, do your best job, deliver for the clients and customers, really help them, but you don't have to go ridiculous. So that's my kind of approach. You might like to adopt a similar strategy. So let's first of all look at outsourcing stuff. What can we do if we want to outsource stuff? Well, let's first of all, if we go back to the web, and I will bring up a couple of links here that we've got, and I'll show you a couple of options. So the first one is Fiverr, which you probably have heard of. Unless you're brand new, you will have almost certainly heard that. So if you wanted a logo, I've used this quite a few times. In fact, that logo I just showed you, the spy bar one, that originally came from Fiverr. You just search for these jobs, and these are all providers who will do do you a logo. So you just find a job that you want. The varying prices. It used to be all $5 years ago, but obviously there's inflation and people have upsells, and if you want it quicker you can pay more. So that's what this is. Very, very popular site. You can get some terrific logos and other graphics as well. I'm just using logos for an example, but Fiverr is pretty good. Just look for the positive feedback. Probably steer away from brand new people who are on there. You want established provider, and the more specific you can be about what you want, the better results you will get. That's true of any outsourcing. Okay, I've paid outsourcers for software programming, for web design, transcription, even all sorts of stuff. But the more you can absolutely specific that you can be, the better you'll get back. So just bear that. That's a simple rule of thumb. So Fiverr is a good option. The other thing that I've only used this once, but I'm mentioning it because it is popular, and it's I've heard from many other people who've used it as well, like I have. I've only used it once, I say, but many other people say they really rave about this, so it's worth considering. This is 99 Designs, and what you do is you put up a brief of what you want, and different designers compete and show you different examples of their own work, and then you've got a selection to choose from. You can choose one, work with them a bit more to get it to tweak it, and then you've got your logo. So it's a great process. And this is something, again, you're probably not going to do this just for a tiny little piece graphic, but if you've got a main logo, maybe for your business or something you really want to, it feels really important to you, then maybe this is an option worth considering. Now, the other thing that you can do is go to a general outsourcing site. So something like, for example, another thing that I've used a lot is Upwork. Okay, I'm not going to log in here, but this is just a place where you can hire freelancers. It was there used to be a company called Odesk and then Elance, and they merged to form Upwork. And I've used these really over 10 years, best part of 10 years, and for all sorts of jobs, like I say, for web programming and all sorts of stuff, software creation, not just graphics, but occasionally I've used them for graphics. So an example of that is if you go to this page, or you can see it on the screen, this is a very simple page. So what images have we got? Well, we've got an image of me. Now that is just me on holiday, literally with just a normal camera shot, right? So I don't think it was a mobile phone shot, but it was you could take something like that on your mobile phone. So that's an example of an image. We have this logo at the top. I will show you how I created that maybe on Thursday. All right, so the minimalist method. And then also we have these arrows here as well. All right, and these arrows are custom. I had these designed by hiring someone on Upwork. I just said, I just want 3 blue arrows pointing downwards, kind of like this. Maybe I drew it out on paper, scanned it in and sent it, or something like that. But that's it. So you can outsource it. You could do something like this yourself if you wanted to, but depending on how busy I am or what mood I'm in, obviously it varies. So those are some simple options for outsourcing stuff. All right, and there are many other sites you can go to and all of that, but really I'll leave you to find those. It's a very simple process, so don't overthink it, just get it done. Make a decision, get it done. So what about do-it-yourself tools and resources? What have we got here? Well, let's go back to the web, and we can pull some of these up as well. So let's have a look. What do we have? First of all, for just images, there's really just 2 categories here. The first category is kind of stock images, Now, what you don't want to do is go in and start using Google Images. So if you go to Google and you type in, I don't know, let's have a look, cars, like that, and then you click images, and you can't use these, all right, because these are copyright, or most of them will be. If you want to find out what ones you can use, you could go to Tools, Usage Rights, and labeled for reuse. So if you go there, and you will see you can use any of these if you want to, but you can see how the selection changes a lot. So if you can find something here, then fair enough, but I never use this, really. I never use Google. You've always got to be careful about, you've got permission to use the images that you'd like to. So there are a set of sites that you can use which allow you to have royalty-free images at zero cost. The first one, let's go in reverse order here, right? So let's go, is Pixabay. All right, so if we type in car here, I don't know what will come up. All right, so all of these pictures you can just use. So all you would do is you just click in, free download, and you can see free for commercial use, no attribution required. So this is absolutely fine to use on a sales page, in a blog post, in an email, on your opt-in page, in a product, like if you're creating a nano product like we talked about, or a book. Any way you like, you can use these images. Now, Pixabay, I use that occasionally, but it's probably my third favourite site. My second favourite site, and there are millions of these sites, right? So you know, you might have some of your own. I'm looking forward to people's suggestions if you want to post those in the Facebook group. But my second favourite personally is Unsplash. So if we do cars here, what do we get? There we go. I don't know why we did cars. Let's try something else like trees. Very basic search. So here we go. So you can use any of these photos, and again, they are the same terms apply. Always check the terms. But my favourite site, again, just my personally, is Pexels. So that's PEXELS.com. Links in the description. So if we do this, we get whatever selection they've got. And it's not that, I don't know whether this is that much bigger than the others, but just for the kind of photos that I like, this is kind of seems to suit me. So I will look for here, Pexels first and foremost. You might have seen, look here first and foremost, and then if I can't find quite what I'm looking for, then what I will do is I'll go back and look at maybe Unsplash and Pixabay in that order. But it's usually a very quick process. You might have noticed in this course, and if you've been on any of my other courses, I like to use these kind of pictures. All right, so I might have something like this with a title on it, or I might have a section heading with this kind of stuff. I just really like that. Right, I love nature and landscape photography and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what I like to do. And a lot of my presentations, a lot of my content in my paid products and my memberships and so on feature this kind of stuff. All right, and I build slides up and presentations using this kind of stuff. And most of those come from Pexels and sometimes Unsplash and Pixabay. So that's it. Those are the basic resources. Now, those are for stock images, but what about, that's not going to give you a logo, is it? If you want to design a logo or a Facebook ad or something like that. So how do you take it a step further and actually design stuff yourself? Well, there is one final tool which we're going to bring in, and that is Canva. Again, there are many other services like Canva, but what it is basically a very simple, easy to use graphic designer that allows you to create banner ads, Facebook ads, logos, book covers, all sorts of other things that you can use in your business. Just remember how effective images are. I showed you that split test earlier. It's really, really important. So Canva is my tool of choice. And if we just look in my designs, this is inside my account, this probably sticks out straight away. Okay, all right, these ones, these are previous sessions, all right, and they're all created in Canva. We also have a logo. If you've ever visited my website, that logo there. These are Facebook ads right here. All right. Here's that minimalist method thing logo that I showed you up here. We have more Facebook ads. There's a book here. We have some product images down the bottom here, and so on. So you can see just with a quick look, you can create lots of different stuff. So what we're going to do on Thursday is we're going to come into Canva, and I'm going to show you inside my account, and we're going to look at how all these images were created, or some of them at least, enough so I can show you the basic techniques that you can use really effectively in Canva. And if you choose to use another tool instead of Canva, I'm sure it will be pretty much similar. So I'll try and give you some easy tips and basic design principles to create reasonable looking graphics, pretty good graphics, right? It will never be as good as if you outsource it, of course. But if I can just put you on the right track, then that should be great. I can tell you that these images have, the web assets like pages and Facebook ads and all this sort of stuff, squeeze pages, where I've used these graphics has converted very, very well for me. Really, really good percentages and statistics. So yes, you could always make them better for sure, but they do a fine job. So this is all about what we do in our business. Is just find something that works for you. All right, it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be terrific. Don't beat yourself up, just use what works. So on Thursday we're going to come back in here, and I'm going to show you a few of these images, and I'll show you the tricks of how to create these things. How was this done? If you want a book cover or a product image for your nano product, how can you actually do that? That's what we're going to do on Thursday. So let's have a look. Someone's saying the bandwidth is getting progressively worse day by day. Am I coming across loud and clear here, or is there any if there's any problems, can you just type in, let me know? That would be most appreciated. You never know which end it's on. Sometimes it's my end, and sometimes it's on the viewer's end. Okay, and the volume's much better than the previous session. Oh, that's terrific. That's good, Roy. That's great. All okay. Everyone seems to think it's fine. Yeah, thank you, everyone. All right. So it's just one of those things, unfortunately. So there we go. That's the DIY tools and resources. Like I say, I'm not going to give you a list of 20 or 30 tools or whatever. If you want that, just go online and search for free graphic tools or something like that, or whatever. And you'll find it, right? But that's not the secret to success. It's not knowing every tool that's out there. I don't really care. I've got one that works for me. It does what I want. And when it stops working, if it ever does, or stops improving, then I'll switch. Simple. So don't get hung up on the tools or anything like that. Now, we're going to finish today with a classic quote. You've probably heard this before. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And this is, I wanted to use this because you have probably heard it before, but it's a brilliant quote. It's so true, isn't it? And this, what comes back to my experience in this business is people have identity problems. And what I mean by that is that they have a subconscious view of their own identity and what they're capable of. So you pick a multi millionaire or billionaire, whatever, ingrained in their personality, in their mindset, subconsciously, is that they are a winner. They are a billionaire. And if you took everything away from them, they'd probably bounce right back up, right? You hear about these people who do that. They make millions and go bust and make millions again. Adam Faith is a good example. Who's a big in the, I'm not sure if he was big elsewhere, but he was big in the UK years and years ago. He did that, and many other people have as well. And that's just the identity, that's the programming of their operating system. There are other people who just don't believe that their identity is just the employee mindset. That's it. So it's a massive stretch to do anything, even to create an ebook, right? Never mind creating millions of pounds or millions of dollars, or creating an empire. Just even to create a free lead magnet of the kind that we've been looking at, that's a massive stretch. So there is an important element that you should think about, is that if you allow these your past failures or previous experience, maybe in a job, like I used to have a job, if you're tied to that, what happens is you're disempowering yourself, and you can find it much, much harder to achieve anything in the future. So you want to let go of all that stuff, let go of the previous identity that you had, and instead empower yourself with whatever you want to do, and just get on and do it. So it's just something, the same with all of these mindset foundational insights. The first level of them is an awareness. Just be aware of what's going on in your mind. It's an amazingly powerful thing, but it also can massively trip you up and self-sabotage your success unwittingly. It's not your fault, it's just the way that we're wired as humans, and it probably dates back to when we lived in caves, and it's all these sort of wirings are there to protect us so we don't get eaten by the lions. But these things those are the things that can be stopping you getting on and getting success. It's not that you don't know enough, you haven't got enough resources for free graphics tools, for example, right? You only know Canva, so you need to know 10 more. It's not that. That is not stopping you getting success. It's this mindset stuff, all right? So if you can work on this foundational, I keep saying it every session, don't we? But it's so important. That's the difference with I've worked with hundreds, well, thousands really, if you include over email as well, but even quite closely with hundreds and hundreds of different people over 10 years that I've been in this business. And the ones that are successful, they're not super clever. They're not academic even, right? I can think of people who did manual jobs in factories, but they just came online and just thought, right, we need this, that, what else we need, done. And it leads to success. It's the people that overthink it. They're tied mentally to their past, or they're constantly viewing themselves against other people. As soon as you do that, you will find your mind tells you that other people are much, much bigger and that yours tiny. Just like when we talked about bootstrapping your success. Do you remember? That was in session 3, I think. So all this stuff is really, really important. So with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into here, and we're going to call it a day for this session. As you can see, it's a bit of a warm-up or a precursor to the next session, which we're going to have just in a couple of days, and we're going to have some fun. Just focus on Canva and just see what we can do, right? And I'm going to show you some nice, easy things that you can create and start playing around with stuff. Because if you haven't got a few basic rules to work with, it can be quite frustrating, and you start putting in work and the images, you can't understand it, but they just never come out like the sort of professional ones do. So I'm going to give you a few rules of thumb, and a few techniques, show you where to click, and we'll see what we can get done on Thursday. So great to see you again. Please do like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you do, because that helps spread the word. Join the Facebook group if you haven't. Please share this course as well with anyone you think might benefit during the difficult period that we're going through. And we will talk on Thursday. So see you in the Facebook group. We'll be back Thursday. Take care.